Hello everybody and welcome to the channel Out of Ammo, Out of Time. I'm your host as always, Crappy Terror 8, and here we are in episode 37 of the Investigator Games. We are hurtling towards episode 40 of the Investigator Games in Season 2. Wow, I can't believe we're still doing this. I'm still here. People said I wouldn't last this long, but I'm still going and I'm still loving it. So here we are in episode 37 with everybody's favourite psychic and clairvoyant, Jacqueline Fine. Yes, now for those of you who are new to the channel, I welcome you. Thank you, and welcome. What is the Investigator Games? Think of it like Squid Game. Think of it like the Hunger Games. We take each probably closer to Squid Game actually. We take every poor investigator, they're all in debt, true solo, through a scenario, and we see how they go. Now, in Season 1, that was The Gathering, and in Season 2, we are here in the Midnight Masks, and depending on how they go, they end up in a league table like this one, yes, and we can see they're all here, top to bottom. Now, the points here include the carryover points from The Gathering. Now, I would recommend that if you haven't seen The Gathering, I would probably go back and start there, at least for Jacqueline anyway. It would be nice to see how she goes before you see how she does in the Midnight Masks. But they're all there with their carryover points, and at the moment, Leo Anderson is topping the table and still remains the champ up the top. Interesting that some of the earlier investigators are actually topping the tables. Of course, got nothing to do with my ability to play this game. It's got nothing to do with random chance, nothing to do with any of that. But it is interesting that yes, they are topping the table, Roland and Leo. Shows how strong those investigators are. So, yes, now spoilers, if you are new to Arkham Horror, the card game, I would really recommend that you search out introductory videos on how to play. I'm assuming you know how to play a little bit. If you haven't played the Midnight Masks before, again, spoilers, of course, it's going to be spoiled. If you really want the Midnight Masks to be spoiled beyond all reasonable doubt, I have an introductory video to the Midnight Masks. Everything from the lore and story through to strategy, everything you could possibly want to know about this awesome, iconic scenario. And a lot of other content creators have talked about it as well in that video on my channel. I would heartily recommend you check that out. Yes, so we are here in Season 2, Midnight Masks. Each investigator goes through, and once we've done the current crop of investigators, we will take the new investigators from the edge of the earth through The Gathering and Midnight Masks, and then once they've done that, we can then all move on to Season 3, which will be the Devourer below. That seems like a long way in the future, but probably not too far if I keep up this once a week sessions that I'm doing at the moment. Anyway, enough about all of that. Let's have a look at Jacqueline Fine. She is the psychic, and she is also traded clairvoyant. I've played Jacqueline Fine a few times, and I have to say that I really like Jacqueline Fine. I think she's great, and I like the way she plays. A lot of fun to play, but before we get into that, let's just have a look at her stat line now. Like all the other investigators who were released as standalone investigators, Jacqueline is no exception in that she has a 5-point skill, and in this case is willpower. So if you need to take someone through Undimensioned and Unseen, Jacqueline Fine is the person to do that. She also has a reasonably respectable intellect with 3. So actually, what I would say is that she's not too bad as a solo investigator. Of course, not everybody plays solo. People play multiplayer. But if you were going to choose somebody for a solo play, that's not too bad because she's got the willpower and she's got the intellect, which means that she should be okay running solo. Now, she's a little bit light on strength and agility, which are both just at a 2. But that's not really a problem for mystics like Jacqueline Fine, because obviously she can use spells to offset those deficits. So obviously she can be fighting with things like Shriveling and Azure Flame, and she can be evading. There's various ways to evade Mists Relay, for example. So whilst it's perhaps a little less efficient using those sorts of cards, it does mean that it's less of an issue than it might be for some other classes of Investigator, that she's got those relatively low stats. Because otherwise, if not, and it's possible in solo that you can end up getting monstered at the beginning of the game relatively early in some scenarios with enemies. She can't really effectively fight, and she can't really effectively evade. So you need to be getting your spells out early so that you're able to manage that. So there you go. That's her stat line, but I think pretty good. Now, she has a special ability, which is really awesome. Reaction trigger. When an investigator, no, it's an investigator, so it doesn't have to be you. Obviously, in solo it is, but it can be any investigator. So she can, I guess the point there is I'm playing a multiplayer game at the moment in the Innsmouth Conspiracy. I'm not playing Jacqueline Fine, but Jacqueline Fine not only can do this for herself, but it's awesome the way she can support the other investigators. So she also, I shouldn't just focus on her solo ability, she's also really good as a support investigator as well, because when an investigator at your location would reveal any number of chaos tokens, reveal 2 additional tokens. So if you're going to draw a token, you can reveal 2 more. So that's 3. Usually, I mean, not always, but usually you're looking at 3 tokens. And of the revealed tokens, choose and cancel 2 non-auto fails or the auto fail. So, and you can do that once per round. So you can't do it 3 times. There are ways of doing it twice, but generally you're just doing it once a round. But even so, it's pretty good. Now, a couple of things there. What that means is that if you do draw 3 tokens and one of them is the auto fail, and the other 2 are, say, a -2 and a -1, you obviously would cancel the auto fail, and usually, unless there's some good reason why you won't. And for example, with survivors, you might not. There might be some reason, but anyway, usually you would cancel the auto fail. And you would be left with the -2 and the -1, which would be a -3. So you still have to essentially add the other 2 together if you do that. But typically what happens is you get 3, they're not the auto fail, and then you can choose amongst the 3 of them and get the most, the best of the 3. So it really allows you to game the system in a sense. That's why she's a clairvoyant psychic. She can see into the future, which allows her to sort of work out what's going on. So it's a very, very nice reaction trigger. It really does mean that when critical chaos bag events turn up, Jacqueline Fine is usually fairly comfortable because the chances of her failing are greatly reduced. That awful situation you have when it's a critical draw and you draw the auto fail or a -4, something like that. It's so particularly in solo where a bad draw can really kind of throw the whole thing out. So really, really great ability. She also has her Elder Sign effect. All the Elder Sign effects are +1, just standard. But if this effect is cancelled or ignored, then you can draw a card. So if you ignore the Elder Sign, so for example, if you drew 0, an Elder Sign, and a -1, you could take the 0, ignore the Elder Sign effect, or cancel it, and you can draw a card. So that's okay. Not too bad. The future can be rewritten. There we go. So very nice way to sort of manipulate the chaos bag. And there's all sorts of cards that allow you to sort of supplement that as well. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Now, her health is not the highest. So that's probably one of her weaknesses, is that her health is only a 6. Now, in the Midnight Masks, there's lots of ways you can take health hits here, there, and everywhere. So that's probably the one we've just got to be the most concerned about. And hopefully that doesn't happen too much, because the choices I've made is actually to not have any allies because I want to focus on other things. So if I got 3, what they called hunting shadow, that would be a problem. I do have other ways of offsetting that, though, and we'll talk about that. Her mental strength is 9, so it's massive. So really, you just got to be careful about taking damage, and if you can manage that, then you're usually pretty okay. So if we just have a look at Jacqueline's, the other side of Jacqueline's deck, again, standard deck size 30, no shenanigans here with what she can use, just mystic cards 0 to 5, neutral cards 0 to 5. Now, she obviously, like everybody else, she has a couple of cards. Arbiter of Fate. Now, Arbiter of Fate, I'll just bring that up. Arbiter of Fate, so I'm sorry, is a really nice card. It's a 3-cost asset. And essentially, what it allows you to do is it allows you to play your special ability again, basically. So, yeah, you when you use your reaction ability, you exhaust Arbiter of Fates, and it means you can just use it again. That's all it really means. Obviously, it's got the 3 pips as well. But given the power of her ability, it's really great to have this out, because then if you're playing solo, you can then 2 out of every 3 draws to the Chaos Bag, you can be doing the drawing 3. And obviously not necessarily during your turn. You might want to keep that for the encounter deck as well, to make sure that you don't get impacted by that as well. So, for example, there are Midnight Masters, there's encounter cards where you might drop clues and things like that, so you want to make sure that you pass those. So that's her special ability. Now her weakness is sort of undermines her special ability, if you like, and that's the Dark Future. Now, Dark Future, you put it into your threat area. You can't cancel or ignore those special tokens. So, for example, the worst one of those, of course, is the auto-fail token. Normally, you can cancel that. This would not allow you to do that. So, essentially, it nullifies your ability to make choices, in a sense. So, but at the end of your turn, you reveal 5 random tokens from the Chaos Bag. Now, of course, if you keep your special ability on hand, you can add an extra 2 to that, so 7. So, essentially, about half the Chaos Bag, not quite. And if you get the Elder Sign symbol, then you can discard Dark Future. So, I mean, it's possible that you might keep Dark Future for a turn, but it's likely that you'll get rid of it in a couple of turns. And it doesn't cost you any time, which is good. So it's not terrible. It just means that you don't use your... What you would do is you would draw it. You wouldn't use your special ability. And then at the end of your turn, you would use it to draw the 7 tokens in that way. So there we go. That's that. Now, her random basic weakness was just the one from the Gathering, was Psychosis. Pretty standard. Take 1 or more horror, take 1 direct damage. Now, actually, as we were talking about before, that's actually it was random, but it's quite a bad one for Jacqueline Fine, because she's not particularly strong. So you want to get rid of that. It just takes 2 actions. So there we go. So let's have a little read about Jacqueline Fine. Blood, fire, destruction. Every night, Jacqueline's dreams are filled with things that have not yet come to pass. At first, she thought of these dreams as a terrible curse. However, as she began to control her visions and observe the events within the greater detail, she now understands they are no curse, but a calling. The world is about to be plunged into 1,000 years of indescribable chaos, and only she knows the warning signs. Her dreams have never been wrong, but she cannot let the nightmares that haunt them become reality. There we go. So yeah, pretty good, Jacqueline Fine. Very nice abilities there. I'm looking forward to seeing how she goes. Now, just in terms of her deck, here we go. This is just on Arkham DB. Now, I'm not going to go through every single card here, because I did that in the Gathering, because every Investigator in Investigator Games starts with their standard Fantasy Flight Games deck. This is the deck that was recommended as a starter deck. So it's exactly the same apart from the upgrade. So if you want more detail on the cards, I recommend you have a look at that video first. I just wanted to talk about the upgrades. Now, she did, spoilers, get 6 experience points in the gathering. So it allowed us to make some changes, but not too many. So really the changes I made were really to try to lean into the Midnight Masks, because the Midnight Masks is a particularly challenging scenario, as we know, and time is of the essence. So I did a couple of things. I put into basic shrivelings because, whilst it's great to have the Azure Flame, we need more than just 2 Azure Flames. We need to be able to draw into some offensive spells. If we're going to take on the Mass Hunter, we're going to need that. I also put in 2 Wards of Protection, and the reason for that is obvious, because the Wards of Protection essentially protect us from the rigors of the encounter deck. And I was talking before about getting cards which mean that you take damage, particularly. Well, Ward of Protection would allow us to offset that. And yes, we take a horror, but horror is not a problem for us. So I will be relying a little bit on Ward of Protection to help us with that. I could also use Ward of Protection to stop mysterious chanting and whatever, adding 2 Doom, which is another blight on the on the Midnight Mask, because it really does rob you of turns as well. So Ward of Protection was kind of a no-brainer, really, because it can be used in so many ways, and it's such a helpful card. Even if you just use it for its single wild card, which I don't usually do that, but it's such a great card that it would be a shame not to have it in the deck. And then I put in 2 Sixth Sense, and that's obvious because Sixth Sense is so great at getting clues. And of course, getting clues and getting cultists is really important in the Midnight Masks, as we know. So we want to be able to do that. And not only that, but the Investigator Games is all about getting points. It's not just about, getting cultists. So it allows us to quickly hoover up, clues in places like Miskatonic University, in places like that with relatively high shroud values. Now, I took out Familiar Spirit. Now, Familiar Spirit was the ally, and I did think about putting an ally in. I didn't in the end, because whilst I could have put in various different allies, I just wanted other things in there, so it didn't feel like a priority. And Familiar Spirit really didn't feel like a particularly great ally to have in there. So I took Familiar Spirit out. I thought about putting in Olive McBride, but I have to confess that when you read about the interaction between Jacqueline Fine's ability and Olive McBride, it became so complicated that I just gave up and thought, this is too hard. I don't want to try and get my head around how that works. I'm sure people have posted videos and explanations on the interaction between Jacqueline Fine and Olive McBride, but I just found the whole thing was just way too complicated. I wish there was a sort of a way that it was a bit more streamlined. Maybe that it's a bit simpler but it just seemed too complicated, and so I avoided that. Arcane Initiate would probably have been the choice I would have put in. The problem with Arcane Initiate in the Midnight Masks is the Doom, so you've got to kind of wait until the witching hour before putting it in, and I've got so many spells that I just don't think I would need it. So I ended up just not putting any allies at all. We also got rid of the Robes of Endless Light. I know it's a bit of a health soak, but it's a 3-cost asset, and really all it does is it just it gives you two strength, 2 physical damage soak, and also, you reduce the cost of spells of a card by 1. That doesn't feel like good value to me. You spend 3, and then, well, yes, I guess if you played 3 spells, I suppose you would save 3, but it just, no, I took that out. I just didn't feel like good value for me. I took out 1 Prescient and 1 Defiance as well. No reason, I just wanted to make space for the other ones. So, and it's less about skills and more about spells for Jacqueline. So I took those out, just 1 of each, so that we could, that our deck was the way that it is. So there we go. I don't know what you think. Let me know, but we will see how she goes in the Midnight Masks. So there we go. That's her deck in a nutshell. So I had a chat to Jacqueline in the trailer before she started. You can see her there. She's just waiting by the house. She's muttering to herself and looks like she might be trying to scry into the future to see how she's going to go. She had a wry smile on her face when I was asking her about how she thinks she will go in the Midnight Masks, which was hard to read. She wasn't telling me. I don't know, so we will see how she goes. So all we've got to wait for now, the crowds are gathering around Arkham, waiting for the horn to go, but we'll just read out the agenda in the act deck while we're waiting. So agenda, predator or prey. Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake that you too are being hunted. Resign, you don't want to risk taking too long, so you head to safety with the information you have gathered. And Act 1A, uncovering the conspiracy. You have one night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. Investigators spend 2 clues per investigator as a group. Draw the top card of the cultist deck. Find as many unique cultist enemies as you can and add them to the victory display. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, advance. There we go. So yes, as I said, oh, there it goes. There goes the horn. And Jacqueline waves to the crowd and the crowd goes wild. I think we are ready to start episode 37 of season 2 of the Investigator Games. Okay, so what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Well, a couple of things that we want. I obviously want an Azure Flame or a Sixth Sense. I want that in the first draw. I also really, really want to get the Crystal Pendulum because that gives us a boost to our willpower, and that's really fantastic. Apart from that, I think obviously having things like Sixth Sense, Scrying Mirror, that kind of thing are also good. And I wouldn't mind a Ward of Protection as well because that's always handy to have. So let's shuffle up and let's draw many. Let's see, draw 5 and let's see what we get. Okay, so no weaknesses here, so that's good. Okay, so we've got the Shriveling, that's good. So we've got that on the table. Now I'm going to keep the Voice of Ra because yeah, we get resources for that. So that's quite important because as we saw last week with Winifred, you can get into a place. There's no emergency cash in these decks, standard, and so it's really important that we have that. Now, Astral Travel is fine later in the game, but it's not much chop earlier. It can be really helpful later in the Midnight Mass because you can zing around a bit, but I don't want it at the beginning. Azure Flame I am going to keep as well because I want to make sure I'm on the offenses here, so that if we have both, we've got 8 charges, and then that means that, you know, if the odd cultist pops up, we can pop that cultist and get rid of him without worrying too much about the charges, and we've still got enough in for the Mars Hunter. Now, the Clairvoyance here, spend a charge and investigate using your willpower. If you succeed, discover an additional clue. Yeah, so that's good actually. It's expensive though, but we've got the Voice of Ra. So whilst we could wait for Sixth Sense, I'm pretty happy with that. The only problem is that we've got too many. We've only got 2 slots for spells, and so at the moment we can't put all of them out. But I'm not too worried about that at the moment. Like, we don't need both Azure Flame and Shrivel. I mean, essentially they're very similar. We don't need both at the moment, so we can kind of deal with one and then the other. So I'm just going to get rid of Astral Travel, and I'm going to draw another card, and we get Ward of Protection. Well, that's perfect. I'm going to shuffle this up. That's great. That's exactly what we need. As long as we've got a resource at hand, and we'll always have one after upkeep anyway, that really allows us to cancel nasty effects that might pop up in that way. I wish we'd got the pendulum, but we don't have the pendulum. But I'm not, it's nice to have, but it's not like absolutely essential. Okay. So there we go. Pretty happy with that start. Let's kick off. What are we going to do here? So the first thing we're going to do is spend 3. First action. We're going to spend 3 and we will bring out... Which one should we bring out? Does it matter? Uses that. Deals +1 damage. You take a horror. Uses that. Deals +1 damage. It's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, to be honest. So I'll bring out the Azure Flame for charges. Azure Flame is actually maybe I shouldn't, because Azure Flame, if a Elder's on a +1 or 0. Well, the thing is, that's true. You can take damage, which we don't want to do, but we've also got our ability, so we can offset that to some degree. So that's our first action. Don't need to do that yet, I don't think. No, because actually that was our first action. Our second action is we're going to avail ourselves of the facility and we're going to draw a card and gain a resource. So we will draw a card, Ineffable Truth. We'll gain a resource. So we've got 3 resources. Now, Ineffable Truth, spend a charge, evade. Okay. So this is like the evasion version of Azure Flame. I don't think we need it at the moment. I think if we get into a place, well, he says that, but it might be worthwhile having it out, to be honest, but then we don't have clairvoyance out. You see, we start to sort of have our different abilities fight with each other, which is unfortunate. I think what we do is we will use the Azure Flame for hunting night gaunts and others. If we use it all up and we've got the shriveling, then we're going to have to use the Ineffable Truth, I think, because if we need to evade. But we'll worry about that down the track. That was our second action. Third action, I'm going to look to investigate without clairvoyance. So, but we are 2 versus 3. Maybe not. Maybe we should Voice of Ra, because we can't bring out clairvoyance. Or do we try and just do a 2 versus a 3 and try and get this? Oh, well, we can use our ability. Why don't we go ahead and do that? I'm sure you're all going, why don't you use your ability? Okay, let's use it now. So essentially, what we've got to do here is we're going to investigate 2 versus 3, but we are going to use our special ability, and we're going to reveal 2 additional tokens. So we're going to reveal 3 tokens. So draw tokens, draw many. Yep, so we're going to draw 3. Here we go. We get a -1, we get a 0, and a -2. So we will take the 0, we'll cancel the other 2, and we get the clue. There we go. Very nice. Cool. There we go. Awesome. Just make sure they went in back. Yes, they did. Okay, so there we go. That was a pretty good start. We got ourselves out our Azure Flame so we can fight anything we need to. We then availed ourselves of the facilities and drew into Ineffable Truth. We've got so many spells, but we really need an extra spell. Maybe I should have... can't remember which card gives you an extra spell slot. Never mind. And then we then used our special ability to then get the clue. So we already got 1 clue. So we're off to a flying start. Next time we'll get up to Rivertown and we'll get the second clue out and see who we get. So we move into the enemy phase, or yes, the enema phase, as I call it. There's no enemies or enemas to speak of. So we move into upkeep and get another Voice of Ra. Oh boy, lots of Voices of Ra. We probably don't need 2 of them, but I mean, things are expensive, I guess, so maybe. Okay, so we will move into the first Mythos phase. The first Doom is down. Let's see what the lovely encounter deck has for us. And indeed, we start with Hunting Shadow. You might either spend a clue or take 2 damage. You see, this is the problem if we get too many of these, because there are 3 of them. Maybe even 4 of them. I can't remember. I really don't. Do we take the 2 damage? I mean, that gets us down to 4 already. I don't want to spend the clue. Look, we've got the Ward of Protection. Let's take this one this time. We will take this one on the chin. It's famous last words here. But from now on, we will have to Ward of Protection them. So we need to keep that in hand in case that happens. There we go. Okay, let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Jacqueline. Time is of the essence. Let's keep moving. So we will move up to Rivertown. Flip that card. Great. Second action, let's go ahead and investigate. And again, it's a 1 versus a 3, but I'm going to use my special ability because why not? So we will do that. So for our second action, 1 versus 3, we will, I think it's Control X. Yeah, we will draw 3 tokens. We get a -3, a -2, and a -1. So we'll take the -1 and we get that clue. There we go. And for our third action, did we get that -3, -2, -1 last time? Surely we don't need to shuffle it, but I did anyway. And for our third action, we will spend the 2 clues. And we will bring out the first cultist. It's nice and fast, isn't it? So we will shuffle up. Who do we get? And we get Wolfman Drew. Oh, we believe in Wolfman Drew. He's been coming up quite a lot, this first one. So there we go, Wolfman Drew. So he's a 4/4/2. He'd be quite hard for us to deal with because yes, we would use our Azure Flame. So we would be fighting at just a 5. We don't get a plus for anything like that. So we would be a 5 versus 4. So we could kill him in 2 goes, but we would need to use a couple of Voices of Ra. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, he's quite a hard one. And also when he attacks you, if you're around, heals damage. So I think, yeah, maybe we'll keep him for later. See how we go. I was kind of hoping for somebody else, but like, for example, with all this money, would have been nice to get the lady up at Northside, whose name escapes me again. But anyway. Okay, so there we go. So that was our turn. Pretty good. We got into Rivertown. We got ourselves a clue. And then we brought out Wolfman Drew. So there's Wolfman Drew. So what we'll do next time is probably get ourselves another couple of clues. We could either play Clairvoyance and get them from Miskatonic Hue, or go into the graveyard. One of the 2, not sure which. We'll think about it. We'll see what happens. Enemy phase, nothing happens. Move into upkeep and get another Azure Flame. So we've got plenty of offensive spells. Now it's really, in fact, we've got offensive spells to burn. So I think we're pretty good from that perspective. We're going to need a bit though if we, when it gets to the Mars Hunter. But at least we're if we can draw into the Crystal Pendulum, I'll be really happy. Okay, so let's move into the Mythos phase. 2 Doom are down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And of course, it has Mysterious Chanting. Place 2 Doom on the nearest cultist enemy. This is a Hex Treachery. Can we use this? Yes. So we've got a decision to make now, because we could use Ward of... The problem is Mysterious Chanting will literally put 2 onto Wolfman Drew, which then kind of forces us to go and fight him, actually. So we've kind of got 2 paths we can follow now. We can either... and the thing is, we couldn't go straight to him. We would... Yeah, we'd probably move up to Northside or something. And then the next time, we would then fight him, because we can't afford to take the 2 damage. We can do that, or we can use Ward of Protection. We can cancel the Mysterious Chanting. Whew. So the danger is if we take a turn to move up to, say, north side, and then we draw into something like the Hunting Night Gaunt, we're in all kinds of trouble, because 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, we will really be in trouble. It wouldn't be so bad if Wolfman Drew was right next to us, and it wouldn't be so bad if we could move in. But I don't want to be tanking 2 points of damage when I've already taken 2. So I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet here. Spend 1, bring out the Ward of Protection. This is why we got it. We will cancel Mysterious Chanting, and I will take a Horror. Yep, that's why we did it. Hopefully, we won't get too many of the other ones. Who knows? But it just felt like we were putting too much risk on everything, just getting out of control in an attempt to go and kill Wolfman Drew. Okay, so that's the end of the Mythos phase. Let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Jacqueline. What do we do here? So we've got a choice here. We could pop into Miskatonic and grab the 2 clues there, or we can pop to the graveyard and get 2 easier clues there. I don't know which is better. I think I might have a go at Miskatonic University. We can always go to the graveyard later. So I think what I might do is, for my first action, I'm going to spend 4. Bring out Clairvoyance. It's got 3 charges on it. Yep. Second action, move to Miskatonic U. There we go. Now that actually top 6 cards of your deck for a tome or a spell. Nice. I don't think we need any spells though. Spells are not the problem. Third action, let's go ahead and use Clairvoyance. So here we go. Spend a charge, investigate using your willpower. If you succeed, discover an additional clue. So we're a willpower of 5. This is 4. I might use a Voice of Ra because we've already got one. No, actually, I want to keep these for fighting. So we're a 5 versus a 4. I'm going to go ahead and use our special ability. So we will draw 3 tokens, and we get a tablet, we get a -1, and we get a -4. Of course, we'll take the -1, and that means we succeed. 5 - 1 is 4. Brilliant. So good. So good. Okay. And that means, because we succeeded, we didn't get a +1 or an Elder Sign. If you succeed, discover an additional clue at the location. So we get 2 clues, and we get our first victory point, and the crowd goes wild. Fantastic. Seeing quite a light show of spells there and clairvoyant abilities. And so that was brilliant. That's fantastic. We get our first victory point. Now, next time we can go ahead and we can see who we get in terms of occultist. So that's really, really great. So, and I just thought with these Voice of Ra, even if we don't use them, they've got willpower pips, which are really essential if we're going to be taking on people like the Ghoul Priest. Ghoul Priest. I keep calling him that. Mars Hunter. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase. There's just Wolfman Drew, who's just hanging there. So we move into upkeep and we get 6 Sense. Okay. So there we go. We've got Clairvoyance. We've really got, we're really sort of overdone on that, really. So anyway, but this has only got 3 charges. 6 Sense, of course, is unlimited. So that's the difference. Okay, so there we go. Let's move into the Mythos phase 3 Doom. We're halfway through. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And there we go. We get a Hunting Night Gaunt. There we go. Hunting Night Gaunt. Lovely. Okay, 3 actions on to Jacqueline. Now, we've got two choices here. We could evade, but we don't have ineffable truth out, so our evasion is pretty rubbish, so it wouldn't take much. I mean, of course, again, we can draw three tokens this round, and we could use it to evade, or we can just go ahead, because we're running at a 5 versus a 3, so chances are we can take him out. And it would be good to have the Hunting Night Gaunt not around, because there's nothing worse in the Midnight Masks than having to be chased down by a Hunting Night Gaunt constantly. So I'm going to just stand and fight. We've got enough stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. So first action, I'm going to use the Azure Flame. Now, fight. Okay. So again, I think we use our special ability. We haven't done that this round. That was the last round we did it, so we can do it once per round. So let's go ahead and do that. So we will draw 3. And we have to right. Okay, look at that. Interesting. So we cancel the auto fail, and then these two cancel each other out. So we succeed. Now we didn't get an Elder or a +1. So we do 2 points of damage to the Hunting Night Gaunt. There we go. Very nice. Now it's interesting because if with the Shriveling, if it's revealed, we would have taken a horror, which, I mean, we can take horror, so it wouldn't have been such a problem. So that's our first action. Second action, let's do it again. Now this time we can't use the 3, so we're just 2 up, 3 versus a 5. I want to kind of keep these. I don't want to waste them, so I'm just going to go ahead and see if we do get it. Chaos Bag gives a -1, and we succeed. We don't take any damage, and we do another 2 points of damage to the Hunting Night Gaunt, and it's dead. Dead, dead, dead. Great. Okay, that's brilliant. So what do we do now? Because we could spend 2 and bring out another cultist, but if we get Peter Warren, then we're going to be taking damage, and I don't want to do that. So, do we Voice of Ra, because we need some more money? So I might use... we've got 1. We can probably... Yeah, that's quite a lot. Maybe we should use the Voice of Ra. Or do we draw? We're going to need more money to bring out one of these, but we don't need to do that right now. I'm wondering whether we move back to Rivertown so we can draw another cultist out next time. Yeah. I think, yeah, because I don't want to be... Well, if we draw a cultist at the beginning and it's Peter Warren, we can Azure Flame him. So why don't we just draw a card? We get Defiance. Very nice card. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. That's what we did. So next time we will draw for the cultist, and if we get Peter Warren, then we'll just Azure Flame him. Okay, so pretty good. We got rid of the Hunting Night Gaunt, essentially, and drew a card. Okay, so let's move into the enemy phase. No enemies to worry about. Upkeep. Another ineffable truth. I think the world's trying to tell us something here. Anyway, okay, let's move into the... Okay, so this is number 4 now. We're getting along. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it has an Acolyte. Where do we put the Acolyte? Let's put the... I might put the Acolyte here in Rivertown. Or do we put him up here in... No, I'm going to put him up here in Northside, actually, with a Doom on him. There's a method in my mudness. Well, actually, no, I've changed my mind. I'm going to put him here at St Mary's Hospital. Sorry. Changed my mind. Because I'm just thinking it would be easy for us to take on Ruth Turner, would it? Probably not. Doesn't actually matter, actually. I might, yeah, put in north side, whatever. Okay. All right. So we need to kill that acolyte, because if we don't, then we will be, yeah, it will flip. So we move into the investigation phase, 3 actions on to Jacqueline. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to move to north side. Yep. Second action, we are going to shrivel the acolyte. So we are a 5 versus a 3, but we are going to use our ability. So we're going to draw 3. And again, we get an auto fail in there. So we have to use these 2, but I think the skulls are 0. Highest number of doom, none, -1. So we succeed and we kill the acolyte. Dead. There we go. All right, so we've only got 1 charge now on this, so we're going to have to think about that. So that was our second action. For our third action, I'm going to I'm going to use my clairvoyance. So we're a 5 versus a 3. 5 versus a 3. Do we throw something? And we're using our willpower. Do we throw anything in? I'm kind of reluctant to throw things in because we're going to need them soon. So I might just go ahead and do that. And Chaos Bag gives us a -3, so we actually failed. Oh dear. If only we had thrown something in. Never mind. So there we go. So successful on some levels, but not on others. So we basically, we moved, we killed the acolyte, and we failed to get the clues, which would have been given us another victory point, but never mind. Never mind. We will keep going. I'm really going to need all these cards for the Masked Hunter, so I didn't want to use them up. Enemy phase. We move into upkeep. We've got too many cards now. Now I'm really feeling dumb because we should have used a card. Then again, we don't need 2 inevitable truths, so we'll get rid of 1 of those. So we've got a full complement of cards. So we move into turn 6. Here we go. It's going to flip next time. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Another acolyte. Well, this time it doesn't matter because it's going to flip anyway. So we'll stick him down here with the doom. We don't care. Okay. All right. So the Masked Hunter will be upon us next time. So we have a couple of choices. In fact, we've got kind of 3 choices here. We could move in and monster Wolfman Drew, but the problem is we've only got 1 Azure Flame, so that's not going to be any good. So we need to do something about that. That's the first thing. The second thing is we could spend 2 clues and we could bring out another cultist. Now that might mean we get the cultist where we are, which means we would have to deal with that. So we would spend 2 clues. We would have to deal with that cultist that has 3 life. So it would take our go. And again, we don't have all the Azure Flame. So neither of those is ideal. We're better off hanging on to the clues that we've got, even though there's a bit of a risk in doing that. So what I'm going to do instead is, first of all, I'm going to try and get these clues. So let's use up this clairvoyance charge. Let's do it again. So spend a charge and investigate. Now this time we are going to use our special ability because we're not going to use it again until next go. So we'll draw 3. So we get a 0, and an Elder Sign. Now, if you get an Elder Sign, you take a horror. Elder Sign allows us to... Okay. So we can ignore the Elder Sign and just take it as a 0, which means we draw a card. So we get another card. We succeed, and we get both clues. So now we've got 4 clues. Wow. So that clairvoyance has really been helpful. There's another victory point. Oops, not a doom. Crowd goes wild. That's brilliant. So we've now got our second victory point. So that was our first action. Sorry, the 3 actions. So that was our That was our first action, wasn't it? That we did that. Yes, that was our first action. Yep. We've got 2 actions left. Second action, let's spend 3. And let's replace clairvoyance with shriveling. So there we go. We've now got plenty of firepower for the Mouse Hunter. That was our second action. Now the only thing is, no point drawing any more cards because we're going to lose something. I think 1, 2, oh no, 8. I don't want to draw another card, so what I might do is take a resource. So we start building up our resources again, because I'm going to probably use these Voices of Ra to try and kill the Mouse Hunter. So there we go. There was our 3 actions. We got 2 more clues. We, which also allowed us to draw a card. We brought out shriveling. So we've now got lots of ways to deal with the Mouse Hunter. And then we took a resource. So I think we're ready for the Mouse Hunter, as ready as we can be anyway. So we move into the enemy phase. No enemies to speak of. We move into upkeep. Now we get Dark Future. That was the worst time. Absolutely the worst time. I'll get rid of Ineffable Truth again. Actually, no, we shouldn't put Dark Future into your threat area, so we actually keep Ineffable Truth. Sorry. So this is bad, and we have to wait till the end of our term. It couldn't have come at a worse time because we would have used it to draw 3, and now we can't. So we're going to have to wait, and we don't want to use it. So we're going to have to, unfortunately, try and deal with the Mouse Hunter with that on board. That was really, really terrible timing. Poor old Jacqueline. Oh well, it's the way it goes. Okay, so we will move into the Mythos phase. There we go. There is the Doom. There we go. Now, just that's a little hint. I didn't know this about Octagon, but you can actually type in the text in terms of how many particular tokens you have. So there he is. There's the Mouse Hunter.
Oh, hello, Jacqueline. Oh, dear. You look a bit worried. Are you seeing your dark future?
Right. Okay. So we have the Mouse Hunter on us. Oh, dear. Time is running short. There we go. Time is running shorts. The minutes pass quickly as your investigation continues. Resign! Okay, let's keep going. And of course, it's not over yet. We've got to see what the encounter deck has, and it's got a locked door attached to the location with the most clues. Well, there are no clues anywhere, so let's just stick the locked door here at the house. Doesn't matter. Send it to the back. Well, that's good that we got that. Okay, let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Jacqueline. Now, unfortunately, we can't use our special ability, which is a real bugger. But that's all right. We've got lots of other things we can do. Yes. So let's see. What shall we do? So we've got 6 points we've got to do. Now, he's a 4 and we are a 5. So what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? So I think we try and fight him 3 times. See how we go. Because we don't want to be taking damage from him. And evading him, I mean, we could try and evade him with a 3, 4. So we actually, this is an alternative. We've got 3 cards here we could throw in to make ourselves a 5 versus a 2 and evade him. And then we could move away, get rid of this dark future. I wonder if that's a better thing to do. Yes. Or maybe we keep those 3 cards in hand and see how we go. Let's see how we go. If we find things going well, happy days. If we find we've had 2 actions and he's not, and then maybe we can do 4 points of damage and then evade him, and then we can finish him off next time. Let's see how we go. So we won't use Defiance, because the problem with Defiance is before revealing Chaos tokens, choose one of the following symbols and ignore the effects. It's better off to use the willpower in this case. So I'm going to keep these 3 to the side in case we need to evade. Let's go ahead and fight. So let's use our Azure Flame first of all. We can't use our Draw 3. So that's willpower of 5 versus 4. What about prescient? After you commit prescient to a skill test, name even, odd, or symbol. After this test ends, if a chaos token of the name type was revealed, return a spell card. We don't really need that either. So let's think about this. So we are 4 versus 5. We can make that a 6. Sorry, a 6. Yeah, 6 versus 4, 2 up. Now the skulls are a -0. Cultist. So the only one is a -3 and a -4, or an auto fail. So the chances are we're going to be fine. We're going to be Jacqueline fine. So I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. So I'm going to go 2 up, see what the chaos bag is. -2, perfect. Isn't that right? 5, 6, 6 versus 4 with the Azure Flame. We didn't take a damage, so we do 2 points of damage. Nice. Ow! Good start. That's the first action. Second action. Let's do it again. Bring out the Voice of Ra. Again, we're 2 up, but this time we are using the Shriveling. So it's the same thing again, except if we pull a token, it's a horror. I think we just do it again. See what the chaos bag has. -4. No, we miss. Oh dear. Okay, that's fine. So we've got 1 action left. So I think we do our plan B because we want to take damage. So we will play these 3 cards. So that's 3, 5 versus 2 for evasion. Chaos bag gives us a +1. So we succeed. We more than succeed. And we evade the Masked Hunter. So that was our 2 actions. 1, 2. So there we go. So that succeeded to a degree, but not completely. But at least we've got another round to deal with the Masked Hunter. It's now the end of our go, so we can use this. So at the end of your round, reveal 5 random tokens. So we're going to use our special ability. So we get 7 tokens. So it's Control X. So we'll put in 7 tokens. And hopefully we do, but we don't. Ah, bugger. Look at that. Nope. Okay. So we keep Dark Future for another round. Oh dear. So the enemy phase, nothing happens. That should have gone that doom, sorry. Upkeep, we get Ritual Candles. Yeah, that would be nice to play it, but we might need to use it for the willpower. Oh dear, this is going to get a little bit hairy. Okay, so we move into the Mythos phase. First doom is down. Let's see what the encounter deck has, and it's got Obscuring Fog attached to your location. That's totally fine. Okay, so we will move. Chaos Bag, the encounter deck has been relatively kind to us so far. So we move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Jacqueline. So once again, we've still got Dark Future. So we don't want to use it, but we've still got Shriveling. So let's go ahead. First action. Shriveling. So let's make that a 6 versus a 4. So we are 2 up again. Chaos Bag gives us a skull, which is 0, which means we do 2 points. But I think we take a horror. Yes, we do. So we take a horror. No big deal. Whew. Okay. Second action. We will do it again. We'll play Prescient. So we are 2 up again. Chaos Bag gives us a -1. Yes. And we do another 2 points of damage. And the Masked Hunter goes down. Ah! There we go. And the crowd goes wild. Wow. Okay. Whew. Okay. Oh boy. All right. What do we do now? I think we just take a breather. Whew. And I think we need to draw a card. So there we go. Oh, we get another astral travel. What a round. What a round. Wow, wow, wow. There we go. So we succeeded in killing the Masked Hunter with 2 shriveling. And then we drew a card. We get again to see if we can get rid of our Dark Future. Let's draw 7. And there it is. There's the Elder Sign. Yes, excellent. Okay. So there we go. Great. Let's go back in. Yes, they do. Okay, so we got rid of that. So we're all ready to go. So next time, we've got 4 clues now. So next time we can get out some cultists and we can start to actually do some things with that. So that's great. We've still got some shriveling left, so we can work with that. So we don't even have to worry about investigating. We've got 2 cultists we can deal with. That's going to be our focus. And then we can, we can worry about getting more clues after that. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase. I've just thought actually we could think about Wolfman Drew as another one actually. But yeah, we're a bit depleted for him. I think if we had the pendulum and we were 6 on a 4, I'd probably think about it. But otherwise, we just don't have enough cards. We've used them all. So I think, yeah, bring out some more cultists. So we move into upkeep. We get our psychosis. Well, that's going to take a turn because we don't want that around. There we go. So we move into the mythos phase. 2 doom are down. Let's see what the encounter deck has, and it's got a Crypt Chill. Well, that's fine because we can get rid of the Azure Flame. So we're a 5 versus a 4. Let's just see what the encounter deck has. It's got a +1, so it doesn't work anyway. So we will move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Jacqueline. Now, it's a pity we don't have our special ability out because, we could move in. We could use our 3 to attack Wolfman Drew, and we don't want to be taking any damage from him because we could be in all kinds of strife. So to be honest, I'm just going to get rid of my psychosis and draw another card. I know it's not ideal. It's a kind of a wasted turn, but that's what weaknesses do. So there we go. We get Dark Prophecy, which is a nice card. When you would reveal a Chaos token, reveal 5 Chaos tokens instead of 1. So that's almost like we can use our ability for once and we can use Dark Prophecy for the other one. Yeah, that's actually good because then that means our ability to say kill Wolfman Drew becomes very, very much more likely. Okay, so we will move into the enemy phase. No enemies to speak of. We move into upkeep and we get Scrying Mirror. This is really, really good card because it means that you know what the chaos token is going to be before you actually draw it. So yeah, so that's very handy. Okay, so let's move into the mythos phase. 3 doom down. We're actually running out of time. We've really kind of wasted a bit of time, and we get mysterious chanting. Oh well, I think that pretty much answers what we want to do now. We put 2 doom onto Wolfman Drew. If we've got mysterious chanting, then that's really forced our hand. We really do need to take on Wolfman Drew because otherwise we're going to have no time. So there you go. Our hand's been forced. Okay. So let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Jacqueline. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So we will move into the downtown. Yeah, move into downtown. Wolfman Drew is upon us. Okay, second action. We're going to use our special ability. So we are a 5 versus a 4. Now we're only 1 up. Let's make that... do we use it for that? Or this? Ooh, okay. So let me think about this. We are a 5. He's a 4. We're 1 up. Skull's a 0. If we use our special ability, we draw 3. For this one, we draw 5. So I think for this one, I'm going to commit astral travel to make us 2 up, and then I'm going to draw 3. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh, boy. Oh, dear. Oh, no. That's the -4, and if you fail, place one of your clues. Ah, that's the worst outcome. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, that did not go well. Okay, I'm going to take a risk here. Let's spend 1. Play Dark Prophecy. Oh, that's a lot of shuffling. And then he's... Oh, no. And then he'll... So we've got a choice here. We could try and do another damage to him and use Dark Prophecy, which will give 2 points of damage, but then he will heal a damage. We could evade him, so he does no damage, but then he comes back up, and we are... Is that our first action or second? That was second because we moved. I think we're going to have to evade him. That's all I can think to do. And hope we draw into something. So I'm going to play Dark Prophecy to evade. So we'll draw 5. Choose one of the tokens. We'll choose the skull, which is 0, so we evade him. That should have been to kill him. That was really, really rough. Okay, so he's evaded for now. That was our third action. So that was rough. So we had to fight Wolfman Drew. So I went in, we drew 3, and we were 2 up, but we drew an order fail tablet -1. So we lost a clue and we missed. We then successfully evaded. So we'll move into enemy phase, no enemies. So we move into upkeep, we get clairvoyance. That's the worst thing we could have asked for. Oh boy. Okay. So we move into Mythos phase 6 Doom already. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Yeah, for each, right. Test 4. So we are a 3. If you have one or more clues, test 4. So we're a 3, but we can make that a 4. We make that a 5. I want to keep this scrying mirror because we might need it. 5 versus a 4, isn't it? Oh, we better make it a 6 versus a 4. Because when am I going to get to play that? Well, actually, I could play it. What happens? Place one of your clues on your location. Well, at the moment... Because we might be able to get a... Yeah. No. No, let's keep it. Okay, 5 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -2. So we're 1 down. So we lose another clue. But at least it's not on these locations anyway. Okay. Right. So move into investigation phase. 3 actions onto Jacqueline. Now, first thing we'll do is we've got to evade. We have to evade Wolfman Drew. 2 versus 2. So I think we use our special ability and we see whether we can evade him. 2 versus 2. Yeah, we can go 0. So we managed to evade him. That's good. So we evade him. Second action, we will spend 3. and bring out the azure flame, the second azure flame. Third action. Fortunately, we can bring out the scrying mirror as well. That would be helpful. I'm going to draw a card. Oh, Arbiter of Fates. Wow, that would be great to get out. Okay, have we got the time though? Enemy phase, no enemies. Upkeep, he's back on us. We get Parallel Fates. Look at top 4 cards of the encounter deck. Reveal a random token. Shuffle those cards into the encounter deck. Otherwise, return to them in any order. Okay. Right. So let's have a look at this. We've now got 4, 5, 6 Doom. So let me think about this. So we're up to 6 Doom. It's going to be 7 Doom as of... So we've got to kill him. We have got no choice, but we've got to kill him. We don't have time. We're going to have to just commit cards. So turn 12. Yeah, time is running short. Oh, boy. Okay, let's see what the encounter deck has. And the encounter deck has, of course it does. It has a Hunting Night Gaunt. Ah, boy. Okay. Ah, boy. Okay, investigation phase. 3 actions on to Jacqueline. Okay, what are we going to do here? Well, at least we've avoided taking damage, but we haven't done any damage either. And we, well, there's, I mean, yeah, we could try. I mean, one way would be to evade both of these, or evade Wolfman Drew, take the damage from this to play Arbiter of Fates, but then we would then take another lot of damage, and then, but then it would be all over because we're up to 5, 7. It's going to flip anyway, so we might as well try. If we can kill Wolfman Drew, then we get to live another day. If not, then we're going to resign anyway. So let's go ahead and see how we go. We might as well. So for our first action, we will use our shriveling. So that gives us a 5 versus a 4. Is he retaliate? No, he's not, thank goodness. Let's make that I'm going to make this one a 6 versus a 4, and I'm going to use our ability. Okay, so we're 2 up. It's hopefully that this will go better than last time. And it... Oh, okay. So we can cancel the auto fail. It's -1, so we succeed and we do 2 points of damage. Not Doom. To Wolfman Drew. So far, so good. Oh, okay. Second action. We can't use that again, but we can play Arbiter of Fates. I can't believe I don't think I've ever used Arbiter of Fates this way, but we get the double, we can use it for a double willpower. So that gives us a 7 versus a 4. Okay, we're a 7 versus a 4. We are 3 up. Chaos Bag gives us an Elder Sign. Oh! So first of all, that's another 2 damage on to Wolfman Drew. So that Doom is gone. And he's in the victory display. Cray goes wild. But also, because we got an Elder Sign... Okay, so, yeah, Wolfman Drew, he's in the victory display. There we go. So pretty good. We've got 1 action left. We can either... we could either try and evade the Hunting Night Gaunt, or we could attack the Hunting Night Gaunt and then take the damage. Which do? We don't want this Hunting Night Gaunt, so I'm going to attack the Hunting Night Gaunt. So that gives us a 5 versus a 3 for our final action. Chaos Bag gives us a skull, so we succeed and we do 2 points of damage. We don't take any damage ourselves, so there we go. What a round. So that was the way the round should have gone last time. We managed to defeat Wolfman Drew. We then, did 2 damage to the Hunting Night Gaunt. So we'll finish him off next time. Enemy phase, we take a damage and a horror. Yep. Upkeep, we get Hypnotic Gaze. Oh, this would have been nice before. Fast play when an enemy attacks an When an enemy attacks Investigator, cancel that attack, reveal a random token. Yeah. That's perfect. We could have used that, but never mind. Okay. So let's move into the mythos phase. 6 doom are down. Well, we only have 2 clues, but to be honest, we'll be lucky to get another cultist at this rate. We'll just have to see because we've only got 2 goes left. So if we're lucky, we might be able to. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And the encounter deck has another crypt chill. That doesn't matter because of shriveling. So let's see what we get. We get a +1 anyway, so nothing. Okay, so let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Jacqueline. I think she's done really well. First action, let's kill this hunting night gaunt. So again, we are a 5 versus a 3. I think we use our special ability. So we control X, we draw 3, and we get a -2, a cultist, and -1. So we'll choose the -1, and the hunting night gaunt is dead. That's first action. Second action, we will spend 2 clues and bring out a cultist. Who do we get? And we get Ruth Turner, who's 1,000,000 miles away from us. Oh boy! Oh, now I wish we had astral travel. Oh boy! Enemy phase, no enemies to speak of. So we move into upkeep. We get another scrying mirror. Okay, there we go. 7 doom are down on the table. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got, it's got a Wings of Darkness. Yes. Yes. Oh, I've never been so happy to get an encounter card before in my life. Test 4. If you fail. So let's go ahead and we get a -2. We fail. So we take a damage and a horror. And we move all the way to Rivertown. Okay. Investigation phase, 3 actions on to... Okay, we have a choice here. We could just resign. Yes, we could just resign. Or we can take 2 actions to get to Ruth Turner, and we would have 1 action left. But I don't think we can do it. I don't think so. Because we are a 2... I mean, Hypnotic Gaze would make us a 3, but Ruth Turner is a 5. So there's no way for us to get 2 up because our Elder Sign is +1, so that's not going to work. The other alternative is we move in and we attack her with Azure Flame, and we would do 2 points of damage. Now then, during the enemy phase, she would attack us, and we could deal the attacking enemy's damage to itself, which would give her 3 points. But again, it wouldn't be enough to kill her. So I can't think of a way that we can do that. So yeah, it's not possible, unfortunately. But what we can do is we can get ourselves another victory point. So but if we do that, then the bell tolls. Well, it is the Investigator Games, so the more points we get, the better. Let's not worry about Devourer below. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to move to the graveyard. Yep, flip the graveyard. Now we have to test 3 versus 5. 3 versus 5. Chaos Bag gives us a skull, so we're fine. First action. Second action, we are going to investigate. So we are a 3 versus a 1. Let's just make that a 4 versus a 1. Do we make it a 5 versus a 1? Because then we can... No, let's make it a 4 versus a 1 and use our special ability. Ooh, yep. Because that's 0 minus 1, cancel that. We've had a lot of auto fails, haven't we? So we get the clue. And then we will just do it the normal way. So 4 versus 1 minus 3 or better. We get a +1. And we succeed and we get the clue. Crowd goes wild because we get the victory point. So we'll just keep going. Enemy phase, nothing happens. Upkeep, 6th sense. We move into the mythos phase. There we go. We didn't resign, so the 12 bells ring out across the town. It's midnight. There's no time left to investigate. You must act based on the information you've collected and the cultist you have found. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was quite an interesting scenario. Turn 15, we got to. We ended up with 2 cultists, but we ended up with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 victory points. So we got lots of victory points in the process, which really puts us quite high up the table, but we didn't finish before midnight, unfortunately. But we did manage to get a whole swag of victory points. Unfortunately, we did pretty well with the Masked Hunter, but Wolfman drew. We got a really bad draw of 3, which really messed us up quite significantly. We also drew both of our weaknesses. That also messed us up because it really kind of affected our ability to take on the Masked Hunter, and that took a couple of turns to get rid of that. But all in all, we always expect things to go a bit wrong in the Midnight Masks. It never goes perfectly. I think Jacqueline did really, really well. She really shows the strength of being able to draw those 3 tokens from the Chaos Bag. So pretty good. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, next time, we will be taking the final of these investigators, these standalone investigators, through the Midnight Masks, and that is the survivor of the group, which is Stella Clark. Yes, Stella Clark, and we will see how she goes. But until then, I'm Krabby Terror 8. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.